What's up, everybody? MrAvogato here, and welcome back to another episode of What If. That's right, this is the time where we sit here and we talk about what if. What if we make some changes to DBD? Today, we're bringing our boy Slinger in for some action as we talk about killer perk changes. Once again, need to read this little disclaimer for everybody. All the ideas, changes, thoughts in this video are simply part of my crazy mind. The developers are not taking any of this into action to my knowledge, nor do I believe that they will. We're simply doing this here for fun. If any changes do occur, I did not know anything about it. Do not get mad. Eat a Jane butt. What? Okay, so in the same fashion as last time, we're going to try to go through it in alphabetical order, and there will be timestamps below for anybody that wants to wet their whistle a little early on certain perk changes listed. So starting off, we're going to start with A, Nurse's Calling. So my thought here would be if you're in the terror radius, right, of a killer while you're healing, the person doing the healing, if they miss a skill check, it should cause them to become broken. Forget auras on this one, and this is coming from someone who loves some auras. Instead, why not just become broken? It is a nurse's calling. It is their job to do the healing, so to speak. So it would be kind of funny. The only downside, as I always say, because I like to look at it from both angles, would be possible people memeing to make others broken. Next up, agitation. Now, currently, we all know what agitation does. You're a fast boy while you are walking around carrying a survivor. Now, what if instead you started off at normal speed, but the further you progressed, the quicker you got? So instead of just one base speed, being a little bit faster, you just start zooming. So when you really need to make that far hook, or for those of you scourge hookers out there, you can always guarantee that you're going to make it where you need to be simply by darting across the map. There would need to be some type of downside to it. Perhaps if you do hit somebody, it resets your speed back to normal. That way people aren't abusing it simply to run straight across the map, but it does make a nice little combo for Mad Grit there, which already is something that's nice to run with agitation. Now we're going to head over to B, Beast of Prey. Upon gaining Bloodlust 2 or above, I believe you should just gain Undetectable for 30, 35, or 40 seconds. None of this nonsense that your red bloodstain is gone just with the Bloodlust itself. Because let's be real, yes, it does help in certain loops, but if you're already reaching that Bloodlust, it's already going to be a pain in the ass chase. So yeah, it might be nice for some little tricks of the light, being that red killer stain, but instead, why not just once you get Bloodlust 2 or above, meaning that you are probably having a little bit of trouble in chase, you gain that Undetectable. You could even leave that chase at that point and have yourself a little bit of ghost walk for the time being. Now we're going to head over to the letter D. Yes, I know there's a letter missing in between there. So heading over to D, these nuts. No, okay. I'm not gonna take that out. Heading over to D, we're gonna actually talk about a idea for a perk. Now, just like we did in our last video for Survivor, this technically could be a replacement for something such as Deadlock or Dead Man's Switch. But even Dragon's Grip, really, but Dragon's Grip is next, so hold up for that one. But my idea here for a perk, and we'll just say for possibly for Deadlock or Dead Man's Switch, is that when a generator is finished, if this was for Deadlock, or if you were to hook a survivor, such as for Dead Man's Switch, being on a generator, if you go to let go, your hands are trapped in it for like a couple seconds. And let's say if it's Deadlock, when a generator's finished, the Jenny with the furthest progress, if a survivor's working on it, their hands become trapped in the generator. Now, some people are going to say, well, what the hell, Avo? If that happens, I'm just going to be sitting there and Huntress is just going to throw her booty cheek at me from across the map. Or Bubba's going to stand next to me with his chainsaw licking his lips. Well, you see, the thing here is, what if it just gave you, kind of like the Skull Merchant, the little up, down, left, right options, and you have to do that really quick. Doing it escapes your hands from it. Not doing it or failing those skill checks in the X amount of time. I'm calling them skill checks, but you know what I'm talking about. Failing those things in the X amount of time causes you to be stuck for a couple seconds. It's a little give and take, and to me, it makes the perk a little more fun than the base stop gen or stop gen because you let go of gen. And once again, Dead Man Switch is my boy Slinger's perk. And sometimes you gotta look at things and just think, what would be more fun? Quick thought on that as well with the up, down, left, right directional marks. It would be really nice if they actually added button presses. And mind you, possibly could be a little difficult per system, but I believe staying on that little thought of the Jennies, talking about Dragon's Grip, I know right now, it causes the expose and the scream and all that, or expose and the aura. What if it caused the scream and exhausted with the aura read instead? And I know, all the dragon grippers right now are gripping their dragons, saying, "What the hell, bro? I love the exposed. I get it." But instead of exposed, I think the exhausted would be more fun and perhaps maybe not even have a cooldown. So then you just kick gens and it's almost kind of like a nowhere to hide combined with exhaustion for a small amount of aura read and a little bit of punishment for a survivor that's hiding in the bush ready to get back on that gen when you walk away. Now we're going to go over to F all these Megans. Force Penance. So, Force Penance is it's definitely interesting, okay? I use it occasionally because a lot of times I deal with le body blocks, and I'm not the biggest fan of body blocks. Now, as a survivor, I feel like in solo queue, if I'm getting body blocked, it's probably because they're trying to get the kill or to kill me. I don't really always run into those super altruistic survivors in solo queue. But tell you, when I play killer, y'all are crazy. It is just like there's a bounty to body block for days on my Death Slinger. So occasionally I will run Force Penance to give that broken for a minute to survivors that choose to do so. Now, my take on a Force Penance change, kind of like a buff in a sense, would be when a survivor does take a protection hit, they still get that broken as usual, but causes all survivors in the terror radius to scream and reveal their position. Some of you might say, well, what is that for? So you can keep chasing the same person that took the body block? No, because if they took the body block, you clearly could see who it is. But if there's a bunch of extra gremlins lurking around on an early game, or you know what, even for those people who just are chasing someone for a specific reason, whether you're trying to grab that Mori, whether you just don't like Megan and you want to Mori her, either way, this would at least give a little bit more fun. I think the screen perks are always hilarious, and there's definitely a lot on both sides, but also gives you that little thought process of, okay, you're broken from the body block, but there's two more bastards around the corner. Next up, Franklin's Demise. Okay, I know y'all gonna hate me for this, you killers that love Franklins, but I say that the item should not lose charges on drop. Hear me out here. Item does drop when you hit them, but if the survivor picks up an item, part of me wants to say the same survivor, but it would be too much counter if it was, because you could just have your boy pick it up. So let's say if any person picks up that item that was dropped, they become exposed. See where we're going here? So when you knock them down, there's always a chance to keep your item charges. So survivors don't have to say, well, shit, there goes my whole event item during the bone chill because every bastard wants to bring Franklin's. But instead, it's a little give or take. It's like, you know what? I will leave that item on the floor, but I'm going to pick that shit up at the end of the game and I'm going to sprint burst out of here with it. Alright, next up is Grim Embrace, a perk I actually very much enjoy. The only downside to it is it's a lot of work for only a short amount of reward. What I think is additionally to what it already does, every time you hook a separate survivor, as in not the same one repeatedly, reveals the aura of a survivor who is yet to be hooked, and causes undetectable on top of that for an X amount of time, let's say 20 seconds to max. This would be very, very good, as it would essentially become the barbecue and chili of bouncing hooks. I don't know why I just thought of something dirty there. It would become the barbecue and chili of bouncing hooks, as in bouncing between survivors, instead of just going for the same person repeatedly, giving you a reward for doing so, along with the final reward of the lock gens once you get all 4 targets secured. Now we're going to go to hexes, well, H that is. There's only one hex we're going to hit up here, and it's going to be Hex the Third Seal. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky situation here. I'm not sure if they would be able to per se do this because it makes me think of Dr. Madness. But my thought process with this is the fact that it could be its own hex in the future. But I think Third Seal would be perfect for it. Still doing what it usually does with the additional effect of Third Seal causing anyone affected by Third Seal to see all dull totems as a hex totem, even though they're not. You can add an additional effect in there, whether it be something like, breaking a dull totem that appears to be a hex gives blah blah blah. But my point here is you slap somebody early game, they think every single totem's a hex, even though it's not. Next up, we're going to go to Hoarder. That's right. The twins perk, the one with the baby, the little vector, sheet, the Vic. Now, Hoarder, I don't think is very much used, is it? I mean, you're giving people additional chest. For what? For what? Me personally, this is another one that could be its own perk in the future, but I believe Hoarder would fit perfect for it. What if chest either A, had a % chance to be empty when you open them? Perhaps those 2 chests that are additional are actually empty, and it could be randomized to where, perhaps the shack ends up freaking empty, but the other chest that got spawned somewhere else will have an item instead. Or what if the chest kind of does a little bit of a trap on you? You know what I mean? You open the chest and there's maybe a 30% chance that entity claws grab onto you for, 5-10 seconds max. We don't want it too long. It brings us back to that topic when we were on the letter D, where Bubba's sitting there licking his lips ready to chainsaw you because you're trapped. But it would be hilarious. You could still have those type of quick time action / directional cues to press to escape earlier. But I do believe it would be quite fun, and it would throw a little touch of a Evil Dead type essence onto that perk. Now we're going to Insidious. Now mind you, once again, the perk that can and cannot be used, or can be used, but some people don't. You get what I'm saying. English is hard. Insidious here, what I'm thinking is when you hit a survivor 3 seconds after being undetectable, perhaps all survivors in the radius scream. Reason for that would make it a lot more fun for jump scare builds, in the sense that you could stand, let's say you're hiding around the corner as Mikey, level, not even level 2, just base Mikey because you're Insidious. You slap someone normal, everyone in the terror radius screams. You're ghosty, you're in ghost mode. You slap someone, everyone in the terror radius screams. A bunch of different options. You're running Tinkerer and you're running Insidious on top of it. You don't have to stand still all the time, because sometimes you just want to scare some survivors, and these motherfuckers don't want to come towards you. Why are you hiding from me? Okay, everyone, please hold on to your jellies, because we're going to Lightborn next. Oh my god. Now, once again, I'm all about them screams. So Lightborn, I'm thinking if you get blinded by a survivor, let's say it makes the survivor scream and reveal their aura for a couple seconds after blind, but also gives you haste. So it's a little bit of a give and take, you know what I'm saying? I am one of the people who just doesn't like the light effect on the screen, not even just for accessibility. It just bothers me in general. So, and mind you, I'm somebody who loves to do flashlight saves as well. So I do believe in the future, especially with the talk being brought up more now that there's the Chucky perk that can also blind survivors. There definitely should be a type of dark mode or something introduced in the future that I do believe will probably happen. And in that case, when it does, why not give Lightborn a little touch up? Mind you, they don't really have to. It still is the full perk, just to block blinds in general. But, maybe even just add it to it if they want to do that. Something that makes it a little more fun. So, now that you're mad about Lightborn, let's go over to Mad Grit. Talking back with an attachment towards Agitation, what if Mad Grit also sped you up per hit that you landed, mind you? We're not trying to just nemesis around the map and fucking speed up necessarily. But what if it just gave you that little chain effect? Maybe it doesn't have to necessarily slow down the wiggle meter. I still think it should. But what if, you hit somebody and now it's like, thank you. Now I'm going to go a little quicker and punch this other fucking Megan in the back of the head. Now we're going over to Rancor. Rancor, the Mori perk. Okay, so Rancor, right? Remember when they were talking all about that, the Mori thing at the end game? We're still not necessarily sure what's going on with that. I'm not sure if it's been canned completely or if it's still going to come out at a certain point. But the thought process here with it is, especially if it never becomes a thing, getting the Mori at endgame, what if Rancor allowed you to Mori any survivor, hold up, when they're already on death hook? So if they're going to be killed on their next hook, they've already been hooked twice, and you down them, then you can Mori them at endgame. The obsession specifically can be Moried pre-endgame so long as they are on death hook. So yeah, there'll still be some turds. There's always going to be those turds regardless that want to camp you out to use their Mori. But this would at least give Rancor a little more fun, and it takes away the extra aura read on everybody. Once again, just a thought. Don't Rancor me. Alright, let's talk about Sloppy Butcher. Sloppy Bugs. The bags, the bloods. The reason we're talking about this is because I want to add a funny ass effect to it. What if it causes those giant large blood spurts, kind of like when it was bugged, when an injured survivor is working on gens? And I'm talking about like Disney fucking World water park. I'm walking towards this gen that's behind the wall, and I just see spraying above it because your injured ass wants to use resilience. A little bit of fun, still some knowledge for the killer to know where people are at. Territorial Imperative. Now, we all know Territorial Imperative, if you're using it, you're probably just going for the Adept. Or you maybe doing a basement build, maybe. What if survivors get the Oblivious effect when going into the basement, and then hooking somebody in the basement gave the killer 5% haste for 15 seconds? Then if somebody like Bubba or Trapper, because we know damn well Trapper is the basement daddy, if either of those bastards hook you in the basement, the game says, here's a 5% haste. Get your ass out the basement and go find somebody different, bro. Alright, last but not least, again, a very weird thought on this one. We're going to W for Whispers, okay? Personally, Whispers I find more annoying. I hear enough voices in my head to not really want to hear the entity speaking sweet nothings to me in my ear. I would say something in the sense of, you're on a gen, killer's coming to your radius, Whispers activates for the survivor, and you start hearing like, come here, help me, I gotta take a shit. Yeah, I mean, something like that. It would be kind of funny, and again, not only very weird, but it leans towards the horror aspect yet again. They're like, what the fuck is this? But once again, these are all just random ideas and thoughts of just what if we made a couple of changes in Dead by Daylight just to have some fun with the perks. I definitely am happy to voice these different opinions. Once again, it's all for fun. It's just brainstorming. I do this shit all the time, and I finally just figured, you know what? Let me just put it into a video and just share it with y'all. If anything gets picked up, and whether new perk wise or changes, I'd be glad to see it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Either way, I hope you had a great time. I do have planned for the next What If a little bit of talk on player banners and badges. Just trying to have a good time with these videos, so we're going to continue doing so. Once again, stay safe, love each other, and I'll see y'all in the fog.
Not you, but I'll take it. Oh my god, look at that bot! What the fuck is that? Playing ding 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 ding.